The Trump administration is now ordering students to self-deport after revoking hundreds of F1 student visas across the country. As if it wasn't already bad enough that students are being arrested in some cases or deported for merely protesting Israel, now you could get your visa removed even if you're not actively protesting Israel. Hundreds of international students studying in the United States have received emails from the US State Department telling them to self-deport as their F1 visas have been revoked owing to campus activism. Oh, but many of these students were surprised because they didn't physically participate in these protests, and the protests or activism they supposedly participated in wasn't even necessarily against Israel. But people who even shared or liked a post considered to be anti-national by Marco Rubio in the State Department have been targeted. In other words, you don't even have to physically be at a protest anymore. Even a word on social media that is perceived to be critical of the US empire can lose you your student visa status. Rubio said that it might be more than 300 students already at this point. We do it every day. Every time I find one of these quote unquote lunatics, I take away their visas. Every country in the world has a right to decide who comes in as a visitor and who doesn't. Rubio said at a press conference in Guyana. Now, while Rubio is pounding his chest with that faux patriotism bullshit, he forgot to mention that everybody, especially people who are residents or citizens in the United States, have a right to the First Amendment once you step foot in the United States. And that precedent has been confirmed time and time again. And if your intention is to make the United States your home and that's why you're studying here, then most Americans would agree. The whole point of the First Amendment is to be able to criticize things about your country that you don't like, about your government that you find problematic. There is nothing unpatriotic or anti-national about that. But not only are they punishing students who decide to engage in their First Amendment right to protest, but they are now punishing students for engaging in their First Amendment right to speak on social media and support certain causes. This would be a good time to remind everybody that Donald Trump said when he came back into office that he is the free speech president. And before we talk about the worst part of all of this, let me ask you a question. Is it only unpatriotic to criticize the Trump administration, or was it also unpatriotic when we were criticizing the Biden administration in the same way? Would the Trump administration consider it unpatriotic to criticize Zelensky and Ukraine for sucking up US taxpayer dollars while refusing to accept a peace deal? And would it still be considered unpatriotic to continue criticizing Bibi Netanyahu and Israel for doing the exact same thing? Better yet, someone please explain to me once again, how is criticizing Israel or protesting Israel in any way, form, or fashion anti-national in regards to the United States of America? Imagine kicking out an international student from your country because they had the audacity to criticize another foreign country committing a genocide against a group of people from another country, then somehow trying to convince us that's anti-national and that's why you deported those kids. But maybe the scariest part is the fact that Marco Rubio and the State Department used a new AI to track all of these students called the Catch and Revoke app. This app was created specifically by the State Department to detect and cancel student visas found supporting Hamas or other designated terrorist organizations. As part of the crackdown, the DOS is also scrutinizing even new student applications. So the State Department gets an AI, and the first thing they do is terrorize international students for exercising their First Amendment rights while they're here in the United States. And more people are absolutely terrified about the fact that Trump announced a $500 billion investment into AI infrastructure because he wants the most powerful AI in the world to be in the United States. What the hell do you think he's going to use it for? He got one AI while being president and immediately used it to attack people's constitutional rights. Imagine what this administration and even future administrations would do if the United States had the most powerful AI in the world and the government had total control of it. You can see how quick shit rolls downhill. And if the State Department is using this Catch and Revoke AI to track students and revoke their visas, do you actually think that it's going to stop at students? And do y'all actually think that Trump will be the last administration in history? Eventually, the other side will get control of this AI? And do you think it'll stop at students? Just remember, all of those BLM protesters were domestic terrorists under the Trump administration. And then the moment Biden won, all the January 6th protesters were domestic terrorists. So how do you think this situation is going to go after y'all guys out the office? But hard head make a soft ass, and some of y'all going to have to learn the hard way that it's never okay to stomp on the Constitution. And if you allow it to happen, it'll come back and bite you in the ass.